Hello all, Tony Roberts again. And I want to talk a little bit about culture because I had a client call me and ask me about culture, and I really don't think a lot of people have a real understanding of how important culture is or what it is. So I want to just have a brief video on what culture really is. Now, culture is the emotional and physical environment of the organization. It ranges from toxic to inviting and from chaotic to aligned and easy. The culture dictates how an organization environment feels, operates, as well as its success or failure. It really is the lifeblood of the organization. A lot of organizations start with a poorly designed and implemented structure, all too often just to wing it. Still, others start with a structure, but the time and the turnover have lost sight of it. In other words, they had a structured culture, or they sort of thought they did, and we had turnover, people coming, people going, and a lack of focus on maintaining the things that held the structure together, and it just sort of fell apart and became more laissez-faire. And the looser it gets, the less it does what it was designed to do. Now, in either case, often people running these organizations react to the conditions and problems without considering the whole organization, how everybody's affected, how all the systems and processes are affected. And they concoct and implement quick fixes that very often break as much as they fix. An organization is a dynamic, fluid environment, requiring an unobstructed path to its goals to achieve peak performance. Like holes in a dam, when the integrity of that structure or path is not part of the problem-solving process, the holes only multiply, as do its challenges. Let's examine each of the 5 critical areas and look at how the organization either thrives or dies a slow death, and sometimes not so slow, based on the planning and implementation and maintenance of its culture. Now, as I just mentioned, an organization functions based on the planning, implementation, maintenance, renewal, and stability of 5 critical areas. These areas are the organization. In other words, this is what the organization encompasses. This is what it is. It will and does thrive or survive or die based on the degree of focus and alignment of these critical areas. So let's take a look at the mission statement. Some people think that a mission statement is just a feel-good statement or PR for the organization. And it may well be, and that's okay, as long as it also specifically answers the questions: we're going to do what, with what, to whom, to what end. Consider the target and the reason. The investors, personnel, equipment, etc. were brought together in the first place. Simply put, who do we serve, why, and how, thereby accomplishing what? So when you think about the mission, it's very specific. It should be, because who's going to do with what, where, when, and for whom. So, like any journey, once we have our mission or destination, we know where we want to go. Now we just need to design the most efficient path to get there. Okay, so there's 2 parts to a culture of an organization. It consists of 2 different branches: the leadership culture and the prescribed operational culture. The leadership culture is how leaders in the organization consistently behave, treat others, treat customers, clients, share information, support ongoing activities, support processes and efforts. It's the example they set by their words and their deeds. It's their commitment level, assistance level, knowledge level, efforts at self-development, etc. To be effective, efficient, and positively move the organization to their mission accomplishment in the most effective manner, the leadership culture must be seamlessly aligned to create a fluid path for all to achievement of the mission that the company has prescribed. The second branch is the prescribed operational culture. If you read a company's policy manuals, its employee manuals, its how-to manuals for each position, task, operations, then you'll have read its prescribed culture. In other words, this is what we say we want the company to do and how to do it and what to accomplish. And then we codified it. We put it in writing. Okay? And it's what the leadership culture should be fully embracing, supporting, and teaching. To be effective, efficient, and positively move the organization to its mission accomplishment in that effective manner, the prescribed culture, or what's codified, must be seamlessly aligned and create a fluid path for all mission accomplishment. In other words, both the leadership culture and the prescribed culture need to be aligned and streamlined, so if you do what's prescribed, if you do what's taught by the leaders, then your result is the most efficient and effective way to achieve your mission. In other words, the guidance we are given verbally should be the same as we are given in writing. Exactly the same. The prescribed culture is basically a hindrance when it's not how it actually operations are carried out. In other words, you've seen organizations where leaders don't teach that and they say, don't worry about that, don't worry about that. So the structure starts to fall apart, it starts to fray. In that case, it's just a document that's no good. It doesn't do anything for us. We want anybody in the world to be able to, say for instance, a new hire. You bring in a new hire and you want to tell the new hire how to do their task or their main task or a task of their position. And so you can give them the operations manual which spells out how to do it. And it should be the exact same thing that the leader is going to go back over and make sure they understood later. It's very confusing to people when a person says one thing and the guidance says another, and it's very ineffective. An organization's systems. Now, systems are the overarching path to mission accomplishment, and they're unique to each organization. Each organization has its own parts, departments, people, things of that nature. In order to accomplish what they want, or what they were created for, these systems, they must fully support the path to mission accomplishment through all their requirements, activities, and processes. Now, unfortunately, as I stated earlier, often over time, bureaucracy takes over and convolutes the systems, giving the mission a back seat to the desires of the bureaucrat, meaning that some people like to do things their way. I'm sure you've all met somebody that, I want to do it my way. We're going to do it my way. And so they start changing things to their comfort and convenience. And what that does is the systems often end up with unnecessary and unproductive requirements. It was created for the convenience of one person, but it's damaging along the path. It's taking other people to do things too long or unnecessary steps. It's just not good for the system, and it's not good for the outcome. It delays it, or in some places it's a drag on it. Systems are the major structure or structural components of the organization. It's like the foundation in a building. You want them solid. Now, processes, they function within the systems. They're specific task or group, or they're a task or a group of tasks designed to produce specific outcomes. Only those processes that are integral part of the system and absolutely necessary to the achievement of the mission should exist. In other words, you've seen organizations that have had processes, you got to do this, and you probably consider jumping through hoops because it didn't really serve a purpose except it was there 10 years ago and they've just never removed it. Processes should only exist in a streamlined manner within the system to accomplish the mission. Any process that's not absolutely necessary or streamlined to minimize waste, time, and wasted effort of manpower, it's just a liability. And it should be removed because it's not helping anybody do anything. As a matter of fact, it's a drag. This is where having basic project management knowledge is extremely helpful, because basic project management is all about the creation and usage of processes and systems to create specific outcomes. Processes can be specific they can require specific tools, specific knowledge, specific manpower and the requirements of manpower, knowledges, things like that, or abilities, environmental needs, safety requirements, all kinds of things. So your processes have to be designed to achieve the outcome in the most efficient and effective manner with you want the least amount of necessary resources is what you want the process to be able to do. So it's the most efficient for the outcome. Now you got your mission, you got your processes, you got your systems, and all of those are there to support the people. The people actually do the job. They get it done. They are what create or not create success. Okay? So to say that the people are a major part of the culture, it's really an understatement. People are what the culture's for supporting the people doing what they're doing. So, how do you prepare positional success, and how do you support and train and maintain them through their time with the organization? The culture you build, that's exactly what does it. People bring with them various beliefs, behaviors, habits. An effective culture focuses on and creates a positive path of least resistance to individual and mission success. That's why a focused and immersive onboarding program designed to acclimate and assimilate each individual, and when I say assimilate, I mean invite, include, so it's inclusion, it's making them know that they're an integral part and a desired part of the organization. Each individual is assimilated, and it's a vital part for the organization as well as the person, because if the person's not happy, they're not going to give 100%. In fact, they may give a whole lot less. You've all seen it. So when I say happy, I'm not saying we're trying to run around being cheerleaders, but we're wanting to create an environment that feels good, that's engaging, that's inviting, and that doesn't have unnecessary steps or resistance in it. A resistance-free environment is what you're looking for. And you can build them if you take the time to design it and put it in. A successful, productive, engaging organizational culture doesn't happen by accident. It's planned, implemented, and maintained. It's evaluated. When things change as time goes on, people, environments, conditions, you got to update the culture with the same focus or mission in mind, as long as the mission stays the same. It's sincere, it's flexible, it's inclusive, it's appreciated by the employees and the staff, it's positive, and it's protected. It's maintained the way it is to accomplish what it does. It makes the people want to work there. It feels good, it's supportive, it's engaging, it's comforting. It's at the forefront of all organizational members' focus, their activities, and their thoughts. It makes them like working there. It's the path for all personnel to personal and professional success. That's what your culture is if you designed it, implemented it, and maintain it correctly. And so if you need help with that, that's what we do. Everybody deserves a corporate culture that is engaging, positive, and just feels good. And it's streamlined so nothing's in their way of personal or professional success. That's the culture you want to have.